So for this afternoon's topic, we have business letter writing. I think this is one of your lessons in final period. Okay, for our learning objectives, at the end of the discussion, we will be able to, letter A, discuss the different kinds of business letter. Letter B, explain how to write a business letter. Letter C, identify the different parts of a business letter. Letter D, enumerate letter layout, style, and format. And letter E, hopefully, write a business letter. Okay, so these are our learning objectives. Okay, so let's start. Now, writing business letter is one of the essential topics of technical writing. So, it is a necessary skill for any student and professional because of its applicability to any field of interest or career path. Okay, so what are business letters, or what is business letter? So these are formal paper communications between persons to and from businesses. So it is a formal document often sent from one company to another or from company to its clients, to its employees, and customers. Now, the overall style of letter depends on the relationship between the parties concerned or the parties involved, whether it is from one company to another or from company to its clients, to its employees, and to its customers. Okay? So another definition of business letters: serve as a means of communication written for various commercial purposes. Now, these purposes can be a business deal, can be a complaint, can be a warning, notice, invitation, declaration, information, apology, and various other corporate matters. That is why we have different kinds of letter, which we will be discussing later on. Okay? So business letters provide a permanent written record and may be taken more seriously by the recipient or the receiver than any other forms of communication. Business letter or business letters serve as a permanent record because it is a written document. Okay? It is a record. It serves as a record. Okay? Another one, letters of business are the most popular and the most widely used written types of letter, especially when you are transacting businesses. Okay? Now, what are the different kinds of business letter? So we have here application letter. So what is application letter? We commonly hear this kind of letter. So it is a letter written for a variety of purposes in our day-to-day activities, which can be domestic or professional. Now, it is also a written request when you ask for an assistance, when you are asking for admission, employment, favor, information, permission, service, and others. Now, when you are asking for something, you can make use of application letter. Now, when you are asking for admission or you want to be admitted in an institution or school, or when you are applying for a job for employment purposes, when you are seeking information, asking for permission and services. So you can make use of application letter. Okay? So the second one is acceptance letter. So it is a type of letter written to communicate a positive response towards job offer, invitation, gift, offer, contract, scholarship, and other matters. Now, the objective of acceptance letter is to say yes to an invitation. So it notifies the reader of the decision and affirms the writer's commitment. So that is acceptance letter. Okay. Next one is apology letter. Now, this letter is used simply to apologize to someone for one's mistake. So if you want to apologize on the mistake committed, so you can write an apology letter. Okay? So the fourth one is cancellation letter. Cancellation letter is a written document created to express an intention of canceling a certain event, agreement, subscription, and arrangements, which can be a contract or a party. Now, a letter for cancellation is mostly used as business correspondence. Okay? And then the next one is refusal letter. Refusal letter is a letter written to notify the reader about the decision of the writer to decline an invitation, an offer, a claim, a request, or any other matter. So refusal, you are declining something, okay? And then the next kind of business letter is information response letter, okay? It is a letter which is an answer to some initial letter. So it provides information or relevant answer to the initial inquiry. Now, class, some people might have a certain concern, or they would like to address an issue, and therefore, writing a response letter to such requests become very important. Okay? So the next one is letter of complaint. So it is a type of letter written to address any type of wrong offense, grievance, resentment arising out of product, service, and others. So letter of complaint, you are complaining. How is it? So having a problem with a product or a service can be frustrating, isn't it? Now, when you're trying to resolve a problem with a company, for example, the first step should be to discuss your concerns with a business representative of the company. But if it doesn't resolve the problem, then consider writing a complaint letter. Okay? Now, letter of intent or LOI. It is a document declaring the preliminary commitment of one party to do business with another. Okay? The letter outlines the chief terms of a prospective deal and is commonly used in different transactions. Okay, so for example, if you are a teacher or an instructor to an institution and you want to render your service again or renew your teaching contract again when the semester ends, then you are asked to submit a letter of intent. Okay? So another one is retirement letter. So retirement letter is a letter written by an employee to inform the employer about his or her pending or voluntary retirement due to personal reasons like accident, commutation, health problem, low salary, or certain unavoidable circumstances. So simply, when you want to retire, so you make use of retirement letter. Okay? So the next one is reference letter. Reference letter. Now, reference letter is also known as recommendation letter. And this is written by an authoritative or credible person to introduce the acquaintance and ascertain his or her attributes towards employment, admission, and or other objectives. Now, uh, it is simply recommending someone for admission and employment. So it is typically sent to a hiring manager or admission officer who is deciding whether to employ or admit a candidate. Okay? Now, the next one is resignation letter. So, it is a formal letter written by a person who wants to give up his job, who wants to give up his title, his authority or position in an official setup. So when you want to quit for a job, so you will write a resignation letter. Okay? And then request letter. So from the word itself, request letter. It is a letter which is written when you need certain information, permission, favor, service, or any other matter which requires a polite and humble request. Okay? So not only when you are asking for a request that requires politeness and humility, but all the time we must be polite and humble. Okay? So sales letter. Sales letter. So it is a letter written to publicize and ultimately sell a product or a service to the customers. So it is a type of business letter meant for generating business. Now, sales letter is designed to persuade or convince the reader to purchase a particular product or service in the absence of salesman. A form of direct mail in which an advertiser sends a letter to a potential customer. So that is sales letter. And then another one is termination letter. Termination letter is a letter written to end an employment, to end a contract or agreement, lease, service, and any matter which requires to be terminated. So termination letter. Okay, when you want to end something, maybe in employment, contract, lease. Okay, now these are some of the different kinds of letter. There are so many, but I have chosen the most commonly written business letter. Okay? Now, moving on, what are the characteristics of a business letter? Okay? So, number one, business letter creates favorable impression. So, in other words, it should be impressive. Okay? How? How impressive? Okay, letter A, it should have the two elements of business letter, the form and the substance, which we will be discussing later on. Another one, it should follow the different parts of a business letter. Okay, so we will be discussing also the different parts later on. Okay, it should be grammatically correct because this is a written document and therefore it should be grammatically correct. And then the content should be substantial. Okay. Now, the second characteristic of a business letter, it appeals to the reader's point of view. Then the third one, correct in every detail. As I said a while ago, it should be grammatically correct. Okay. Next one, it should be courteous, friendly, and sincere. Okay, there should be the element of respect in this business letter. Okay, another one, promotes goodwill, coherent and well paragraphed, and it employs highly the professional jargon. Now, what do you mean by jargon? Okay, so it is a term for specialized or technical language that is only understood by those who are members of a group. Or simply, jargon is the language of the different professions. Okay, for example, we have medical terms for doctors and nurses, and only themselves understood the medical terms. Okay, so we have legal terms for lawyers and judges. Okay, and they themselves understood the legal terms. Okay, so engineering terms for engineers, and letter D, computer terms for IT. So that is the meaning of jargon. Okay, so these are the different characteristics of a business letter. So take note of those characteristics because sooner or later you will be writing these different kinds of business letter. Okay, now what are the two elements of business letter? Okay, so we have the form and the substance. Okay, so form, it consists of formatting the letter. And number two, substance involves the message of the letter. Now, the format of the letter is important because it creates the so-called first impression, which could affect how readers react to the content. Okay? Now, the first impression must be reinforced by the contents of the letter, since a poorly constructed business letter would disappoint the reader, especially if the first impression was a favorable one. Okay, the form of the letter consists of the physical appearance, including the kind of paper used, the margins, the spacing, and other details such as punctuations and indentation. Now, with regards to the paper used in business letter, we call it stationery. Okay, we call it stationery. So again, stationery is the paper used in writing business letter. Now, in choosing what stationery to use, it should be of good quality since it affects the letter which is presented to the reader. Now, the paper must have a smooth finish. Business stationery comes in different sizes, but it is advisable to use 8.5 by 11 inches, which makes filing easy. The second page onward should be plain and should have no letterhead, but it should match the first page in all aspects. Okay? The business envelope should also match the color and the quality of the paper used. So that's the stationery or the paper used in business writing. Now, what are the 7 C's of the business letter? So before sending the letter, the writer should make sure that the letter follows the 7 C's. Number 1, clearness. Number 2, conciseness. Number 3, concreteness. Number 4, completeness. Number 5, correctness. Number 6, consideration. And number 7, courtesy. So try to remember those 7 C's of the business letter. Now, what are the different parts of a business letter? Number 1, we have the heading. Now, the heading tells the address of the writer or the sender, which includes his or her address, okay? Country, zip code, which are typed on the top lines. Now, this part is optional, meaning to say you can have it or not. You can write it or not. You can include it or not. So this is optional part. Now, number 2 is letterhead. Letterhead contains the name of the firm, a statement of its business, its address, and other essential parts such as telephone number, fax number, cell phone number, and website. So letterhead must be simple and dignified. Most company and firms has this letterhead, and also educational institution. Okay, number 3, we have date line. Date has to be written exactly below the letterhead. The date is important part of a letter and is used for reference. Now, the date is supposed to be written in full with day, month, and year. For example, October 5, 2020 or 5th of October 2020. Date must not be shortened, like 10/5/2020. Okay? So, next part is the inside address. This is the recipient's or receiver's name and address. This part includes the name of the receiver, his designation, and full address, inclusive of phone number and email. And then we have the salutation. Salutation is a word of greeting used to begin a letter. So it is courteous gesture and shows respect to the receiver. So for example of salutation is dear mom, dear sir, dear madam, dear mademoiselle, dear Miss Robles. Okay. And then we have body of the letter. It contains the message of the letter. So it must be carefully planned, concise, clear, and accurate. Now, body of the letter should be substantial, meaning to say the content is substantial. So anything that you want to say should be should be written in the body of the letter. Okay, next is complementary clause. Closing refers to the end of the letter. So it is courteous and shows a mark of respect towards the recipient. Example, sincerely yours and respectfully yours. Okay? And the last one, the last part of a business letter is signature. So this is very important. Sign your name after a few spaces. If you have your printed name, then sign above the line containing your typed name. Now, signature is to be written in black ink. If you have an electronic signature, you can use that too. Now, scanned image of your signature can also be used if it confers with the rule of the organization. Okay? So those are the different parts of the letter, of a business letter. Okay? Now, business letter has a layout. or style, how it is written. Okay? Now, it could be written in full black style. So full black letter style is commonly used layout, okay? Between businesses and between individuals and businesses. Its main purposes are to inform, request, or register a complaint. Now, in full black format letter, all letter parts is aligned from the left margin. All lines are left justified. Paragraphs are not indented. Paragraphs are separated by a double or triple spacing, just like this one. So this is the format of full black style, wherein all, as you can see, all the parts are written from the left side. Okay? Next, we have the semi-black style. Semi-black letter format is, as mentioned, has partial formatting of a full black style. So all text is aligned to the left margin, but paragraphs are indented, just like this one, semi-black style. So all parts are aligned from the left margin, except that the body of the letter or the paragraph is indented. Okay? Next, we have modified black style. It is a conventional way of writing formal business letter. Now, in modified black format letter, all text is aligned to the left margin except for the author's address, date, and closing. Now, paragraphs are not indented. The author's address, date, and closing are usually indented just like this one. So this is the format or the layout of the modified black style. Okay? Next, we have a modified semi-black style. So in modified semi-black format, there are partial elements of modified black style. So all text is aligned to the left margin except for the author's address, date, and closing. Paragraphs are indented. The author's address, date, and closing are usually indented in same position. Okay, so just like this one. So in here, this is a modified semi-black style or format. So as you can see, the date line, heading, and complementary clause and signature are aligned from the right area, and the paragraphs or the paragraph is indented. Okay, so these are the different the different style and format of writing a business letter. Okay, so my dear students, that concludes our discussion for this afternoon. Thank you for attending our virtual class. God bless us and keep safe, everyone.